General Hospital spoilers reveal that Emma's recent behavior is causing an increasingly widespread wave of suspicion. Not only within academic circles but also in the underground layers surrounding Professor Dalton and the top-secret mission entrusted to Jocelyn by the WSB. What was once seen as healthy competition between two promising individuals is now gradually turning into a covert, calculated, and obsessive battle. Emma no longer acts like a simple student trying to impress an influential professor. She behaves like someone executing a secret plan, someone with a clear goal, a detailed strategy, and, above all, an intent to dismantle the entire system Jocelyn has been carefully building with Dalton. Every small action of Emma's is starting to come under scrutiny. She consistently shows up at the exact right time for private discussions Jocelyn tries to arrange with Dalton, never too late, never too early, but just enough to derail or break apart the conversation. Her accidental interruption with a seemingly innocent question is the catalyst that causes Dalton to switch topics, losing faith in the proactive image Jocelyn has worked so hard to create. Furthermore, some of the research materials Jocelyn has prepared seem to have been accessed by Emma beforehand. And ideas Jocelyn was about to present are, coincidentally, brought up by Emma, making Jocelyn's efforts fade into the background in Dalton's eyes. If this were just a coincidence, there would be too many perfect repetitions to call it random. And the scariest part is that Emma neither denies nor avoids the situation. She appears calm, confident, and at times even looks at Jocelyn with an expression that seems to challenge her. Do you think you understand what's happening? It's this calm demeanor that begins to make Jocelyn truly feel threatened, not about her reputation, but about her very existence in this operation. The story becomes more dangerous as there are signs Emma may be operating under an entirely different system, one where sabotaging Jocelyn is not just a personal act of rivalry but part of an organized mission. A mission aimed directly at controlling Dalton and eliminating all sources of WSB influence if necessary. This opens up the possibility that Emma is not merely a disgraced agent trying to regain trust but may be working for an opposing force, DVX, or even a third, undisclosed organization. A force that sees Dalton as a strategic target and Jocelyn as the obstacle that must be removed. Each time Jocelyn takes another step forward in earning Dalton's trust, Emma shows up like a shadow quietly undermining things from the inside. She doesn't make a scene, doesn't openly confront anyone, but her presence is enough to disrupt the entire trajectory Jocelyn is setting up. She sows doubt, creates instability, and even uses old stories from Dalton's past to reshape his image in others' eyes, making Dalton feel like she understands him better than anyone else. While Jocelyn moves from effort to sincerity, Emma moves from manipulation to control. And so, the entire confrontation between Emma and Jocelyn is no longer about the position of research assistant. This is a battle between two ideologies, two opposing strategies of power, influence, and the future of an intelligence campaign. The danger of Emma lies in the fact that she doesn't reveal her ultimate objective, and thus, no one knows how far she will go. But her increasingly overt and calculating actions prove that Jocelyn is not just losing control, she's being lured into a game where the rules are set by Emma. Once Emma successfully breaks down the structures Jocelyn has built, it won't just be one person who fails. The entire WSB mission that has been placed on Jocelyn's shoulders will collapse. And that will be the true disaster. Emma, in the eyes of the organization, may be a tool of no further value. But in the hands of another force, she is a strategic weapon, ready to drive deep into the system and cause it to implode from within. And Jocelyn, if she doesn't realize this soon, won't just lose, she will be completely erased from this hidden game. Emma is not a random adversary. She is a warning, quiet, dangerous, and lethal. Emma is stepping into a dangerous gray area, where every boundary of loyalty, ethics, and ideals is being broken by her little by little to build a new model, an independent force no longer bound by outdated legacies or corrupt power structures like the WSB. And to do so, Emma has chosen a path that cannot be turned back from, an alliance with DVX, the organization once considered the eternal enemy of her aunt, Anna Devane, and seen as a symbol of betrayal, manipulation, and global threat. Emma did not make this decision lightly. After the shock Anna endured when the WSB, the organization to which she had devoted her youth and reputation, turned on her, accusing her of treason just because of a tabloid article spread after Victor Cassidy's death, Emma saw the true nature of the system she had once admired. For her, that moment was the breaking point, where the trust a granddaughter had in the legendary organization her family revered completely shattered. Emma no longer saw the WSB as a symbol of justice or international protection. She saw decay, betrayal, and a willingness to sacrifice loyal people for political survival. Since then, she has not spoken of it, has not shared her feelings with anyone, but inside her, a process of power re-establishment began to take shape. She silently watched, took note, and gradually turned to DVX, the organization once seen as extreme and brutal but with clear structure and a willingness to empower those with real ambition. To them, Emma is not a traitor, but an uncut gem, someone who can use Anna's legacy to turn against the WSB and create a historic overthrow. Emma's approach to Dalton and her insertion into campaigns once guarded by WSB under layers of secrecy is part of a long-term plan. Dalton is not merely an academic target. He is the key to unlocking secrets about underground information systems, international money transfer accounts, and intelligence transactions that the WSB has hidden under the guise of academic cooperation. Emma fully understands the importance of this professor and also knows that the WSB is focusing its efforts on Jocelyn, a young agent, to control Dalton. But she doesn't confront them head-on. Emma chooses the subtle, cold, methodical approach, slowly neutralizing Jocelyn's every move with sophistication, intelligence, and covert manipulation. No one in the WSB, not even Brennan, could ever suspect that the person they once placed their trust in is now slowly embedding DVX ideology into the heart of their strategic plans. Emma is adjusting the entire system she was once part of, but on her own terms. And that is what makes everything more dangerous than ever. When someone has the ability to infiltrate so deeply, has the bloodline of a legend like Anna Devane, yet chooses to side with the opposition, it's no longer a personal rebellion. It is a redefinition of loyalty, power, and purpose. Step by step, Emma is earning the trust of key players in the academic system, from professors to pivotal figures in the organization. She appears serious, dedicated, and always keeps up a perfect exterior, a worthy heir to the Devane bloodline. But inside, she coldly rebuilds the entire path of the DVX strategy being inserted into Port Charles. Each time Jocelyn fails in a meeting, each time a WSB plan leaks, each time Dalton loses faith in the old organization, Emma takes another step closer to her ultimate goal: to wipe out the WSB's influence here. The scary part is, Emma doesn't hate Anna. On the contrary, she loves her with everything she has. But because of that love, she cannot accept the silence, the suffering, and the sacrifices Anna once made for the old organization. Emma doesn't want to be the next victim. She wants to be the one in control. And if that means cutting all ties to the past, then she will do it, without hesitation. The changes Emma is making are not mere acts of betrayal. They are the first steps in a comprehensive re-establishment process, where everyone will be forced to choose, side with the decaying old order, or place their trust in a new force bold enough to do what others only dared to think. And when the final confrontation between Emma and the WSB erupts, it will no longer be a simple spy purge. It will be a battle for the future of international intelligence, where a girl bearing the Scorpio Drake name is rewriting history with the very betrayal she believes is necessary. Victor was the mysterious link embedded deep within the resurgence of Emma's power, and it was he who quietly laid out a bold plan far beyond anything WSB or DVX had ever anticipated. Before being eliminated from the political chessboard by what was believed to be the final end of a manipulator, Victor Cassidy managed to leave behind a terrifying legacy. A long-term strategic control program, encrypted in top-secret directives, with Emma at its core. No one knows exactly when Victor recognized the latent potential in Emma Scorpio Drake. It may have been through intelligence reports, or through years of silently monitoring the Devane family from within the WSB system. But one thing is certain. Victor didn't choose Emma because she was Anna's descendant, he chose her because she was the kind of uncontrollable variable that no system could contain. Young, brilliant, carrying the bloodline of legendary warriors, and harboring a simmering resentment toward the organization that betrayed her grandmother, Emma was the storm Victor needed to complete his final power play. Somehow, Victor succeeded in planting the seed of doubt in Emma's mind. When the tabloid exposé revealing Anna's double-agent past was released after Victor's death, and the WSB immediately turned its back on their most loyal operative, Emma's faith collapsed. At that moment, the stolen documents, encrypted calls, and special communication channels Victor left behind were activated, leading Emma step by step toward DVX. But unlike typical traitors, Emma wasn't turned into a puppet. She became the one rewriting the script. The story Victor left behind wasn't just a warning to the WSB. It was a blueprint for a strategic strike, aimed at the very foundations, the beliefs, and the decades-old alliances the WSB had built. And now, with Emma at the heart of that network, accepted by DVX, and carrying a philosophy nurtured by Victor, she is the ticking time bomb no one can defuse. Shockwaves begin to ripple outward, WSB facilities are breached one after another. Data pipelines are subtly manipulated, agents once believed incorruptible begin to vanish or switch sides. In the shadows, Emma coordinates it all, step by step, without a sound. She doesn't need bullets to bring down the WSB. She's doing it with the calculated madness Victor once described: to destroy an empire, don't confront it, let it rot from within. Emma is the embodiment of that doctrine. She no longer fights for honor, loyalty, or any traditional moral ideal. She fights for her own truth, that the world needs a complete upheaval. A purge of outdated ideologies to usher in a new era, one where survivors will no longer be forced to bow to the rules of the dead. Emma's story is no longer about personal revenge. It is the next chapter in a grander plan Victor once drafted, a chapter filled with blood, betrayal, and icy intelligence. And as the final pieces begin to fall into place, the new world Victor sought to create, through Emma's hands, is gradually becoming reality. A world where loyalty no longer exists, only power and survival. Emma is not just an heir. She is the perfect instrument. And more importantly, she is the only one ruthless enough to finish what Victor started. Emma is preparing to launch a full-scale assault on Jocelyn, not with weapons or overt threats, but through a meticulously calculated series of strategic moves designed to break her spirit, undermine her credibility, and collapse the entire foundation Jocelyn is trying to uphold as a young WSB agent. This is no longer a mere rivalry over a research assistant position next to Professor Dalton. This is the beginning of a psychological and power war, where someone once considered an ally is now the greatest threat Jocelyn has ever faced. Emma, with her calm demeanor and seemingly trustworthy charm, is in fact executing a deep, layered attack plan based on everything she has ever observed about Jocelyn, her weaknesses, strategic thinking patterns, behavioral instincts, and especially her lack of experience in dealing with sophisticated manipulators like Emma herself. After securing her place in Dalton's favor through flawless academic performance, Emma began manipulating the academic circle around Jocelyn, gradually causing those who once supported her to become suspicious, distant, or skeptical of her character and competence. Jocelyn, already under immense pressure from WSB operations, now faces an underground current from DVX, a force she was never fully trained to combat. She begins to feel isolated. Critical data she submits is blocked or altered. Communication from HQ becomes unresponsive, and even Brennan, her once trusted advisor, has gone mysteriously silent. Meanwhile, Emma's ability to coordinate begins to surface, not as an agent trying to reclaim a position, but as an architect controlling the entire front. What makes this even more terrifying is that Jocelyn is being attacked from two directions, from the WSB, where some higher-ups still doubt her mission performance after initial mishaps, and from DVX, where Emma now openly assumes her role as an embedded agent, a dangerous wildcard ready to trigger chaos from within. The adjustments Jocelyn is enduring are no longer technical or minor tactical shifts. This is a deliberate, organized suppression, aimed at weakening, isolating, and eventually removing her from the operation. In the eyes of DVX, Jocelyn is more than a young agent. She is a lingering symbol of the old WSB loyalty, of the values Victor Cassadine sought to erase. And to Emma, eliminating Jocelyn isn't about envy or competition, but because she believes Jocelyn's existence is the greatest barrier to the new order she is secretly constructing. Emma's full-scale attack won't be violent, but the consequences will be more devastating than any gunshot. Jocelyn will lose credibility, be cut off from internal trust, and ultimately be labeled a strategic failure of the WSB. Meanwhile, Jocelyn starts to feel an overwhelming paranoia. She used to believe danger came from outsiders, traitors, enemy agents. But now she realizes the biggest threat stands beside her, pretending to be a classmate, colleague, or even a trusted teammate. Emma no longer plays by the rules, and that makes her an unpredictable threat. Each day, Jocelyn struggles to complete her tasks while fending off an invisible force that is eroding her trust in everything around her. She doesn't know who to trust, where to lean, or even if she's still truly part of the mission WSB is pursuing. But one thing she knows for certain. Emma isn't just threatening her position, she's threatening her entire existence in this intelligence war. And so, Jocelyn is forced to face the truth that there is no more time for doubt or retreat. An undeclared, borderless war has begun, where the enemy isn't outside the organization, but the one closest, who knows her best, and knows exactly when to strike. Emma is no longer just a rival. She is a covert destroyer, empowered and ready to rewrite the rules of the game. And if Jocelyn doesn't strike back in time, the next name erased from the WSB system will be hers. Brennan is gradually revealing his true ambition, not merely as a coordinator for the WSB's operations, but as someone quietly planning to wipe out all the madness and deviations that the organization itself has spawned in the shadows. Dubious actions, irrational decisions, and especially the recent unstable intelligence missions have made Brennan lose faith in the legitimacy of the very system he serves. In his eyes, the WSB has strayed too far from its original mission. Instead of safeguarding international peace, they have become obsessed with power, manipulation, and total control, and that is the madness Brennan is determined to extinguish. The frightening part is that Brennan is not acting openly. He does not criticize, speak out, or confront his superiors directly. Instead, he chooses a colder and more dangerous path, internal manipulation. Brennan begins to restructure campaigns, embed neutral personnel into key positions, and watch as the rotting links in the system begin to collapse under the weight of his tactical adjustments. No one notices, or if they do, it's already too late. Brennan no longer wants to save the WSB. He wants to rebuild it from the ashes of its own arrogance and misdirection. His recent actions show he's following a new control model, one in which he is no longer an executor, but the decision-maker. He begins gathering evidence of high-ranking agent misconduct, exposing missions hidden behind fake diplomatic language, and gradually shedding light on strategic missteps previously overlooked in the name of national security. While upper management is still preoccupied with meaningless meetings, Brennan now holds documents that could completely strip the WSB leadership of their credibility if made public. Yet this opens a new obsession. Brennan is no longer just an internal coordinator. He has become a solitary force, with a vision too vast and ambition too reckless. While he believes he's acting to save the system's existence, in reality, he's building a new control model just as terrifying, where all power converges on a single individual. And the most dangerous part is, Brennan believes he is absolutely right. Jocelyn, Emma, Jason, Anna, they are all pawns on a board Brennan is resetting. With every move they make, Brennan not only watches but influences behind the scenes, who gets support, who gets cut off, who is pushed into the light, and who will be drowned when they no longer hold tactical value. For him, every action must serve one purpose, the complete eradication of the WSB's strategic errors, at all costs. But a system as large as WSB cannot be changed in silence without consequences. Brennan's actions have triggered a chain reaction, increasing internal instability, agents put in danger due to loss of support, and abruptly altered missions, causing the global coordination structure to begin crumbling. Brennan thinks he's in control. But he doesn't realize his radical restructuring is igniting a new catastrophe, an unpredictable chaos. Some within the organization are starting to suspect, but no one dares speak up. Because Brennan is too smart, too fast, and too deep. He knows exactly when to issue orders, when to retreat, when to let things naturally fall apart. And so, the story of power within the WSB is being rewritten by the very hands of the man once tasked with keeping it balanced. But now, driven by obsession for an ideal system, Brennan is no longer the savior. He is becoming the symbol of a new collapse, one where disaster doesn't come from outside enemies, but from the very person once entrusted to preserve peace.